This is where it stands with Lane Kiffin. Hypothetically, you have a guy who's being courted by a team that he just beat, Florida, on Saturday night, who could then become the Florida head coach. But Florida kind of needed to beat him to knock down his playoff chances so that he would be available in December. You guys with me so far?
Yep.
Got you.
Right now, Ole Miss is not in a great situation to go to Atlanta. They might be as high as the 5 seed in the playoff. They would play the 12 and then probably win that game. So Lane Kiffin theoretically would be booked or busy, #booked and blessed, all the way through December when the transfer portal opens, when a new coach would want to make his assistant hires and his coordinator hires and all that, right? Okay. What if his current employer were to maybe, I don't know, the week that they have a bye, which is this Saturday, say, I'm going to need like a firm answer from you. You got to say one way or the other. Are you staying or are you going? And what if, hypothetically, Lane Kiffin said, I'm going? Because right now it's Florida, by the way. It's not LSU. It's not the Titans. It's not the Giants. It's Florida. Okay? His now reconciled, still legally ex-wife who he co-parents with, how's that for a modern title, is from Gainesville, and she went to Florida. All right? It's going to be Florida if it's not Ole Miss. But what if the ultimatum arrives, for the sake of both programs, by the way, for Florida and for Ole Miss, and he says, I got to go. This team, this program that I coached this year that has one loss in the SEC, I got to go. I'm going. That could happen. We could find out about that within 7 days. I'm not saying it. I am not reporting, internet, that is happening right now. I am telling you that is a possibility, something we've never seen before. Leaving a team on its way to contending for a national championship, technically. This is on the table right now. This is what is going on with Lane Kiffin, with CAA and Jimmy Sexton, with Ole Miss and with Florida.
So not reporting, but just from what you know and that good old gut feeling that we all have. If you had to bet your house on where Lane Kiffin is coaching next year, where is it? Not reporting, gut feeling. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
So the reason why this is tricky is, so I've been covering coaching searches for the better part of like 15 years. What Lane does that is different than every other person is that he draws it out until the very last minute, and he's incredibly good at mixing the noise out there. So if you ask one person, they're going to say, oh, well, he's definitely staying. And if you ask another, and I'm talking about connected people in the industry, and then you'll have an entire different set of people say, no, he's definitely going. Oh, the family's already looking at houses that, they're trying to figure out. His son is playing football at Oxford High right now. So the son is going to maybe check out what program would I transfer to, what high school program would I transfer to down in Gainesville. So it's a 50-50 thing. So what I've told people on the phone, especially for the last 48 hours, is that it truly is a coin flip. However, if hypothetically, those are my magic hands, okay? Hypothetically, one were to try to look for the inside track here, I would look at a series of comments that Lane Kiffin has made about the lackluster stadium attendance at Vaught Hemingway versus some of the bigger programs by volume, by size, not bigger in any other way, in the SEC. It seems like he's ready to go and maybe coach his home games in somewhere like the Swamp.
I honestly, Godfrey, I read that the same way when he was talking about, were you here last week and what did you like? Did you see this? I thought that was kind of a staggering. I remember being in Nashville when James Franklin got very frustrated with the lack of attendance at Vandy games, and you could feel the writing on the wall.
Comp.
And it's just I heard the Lane stuff. It was the first thing I thought was the same exact thing.
It's a very, very good comp, Fitz. Football wise. Well, let me back. Compensation wise, this guy does not want, he's got his generational wealth. So it's not like a young G5 coach who has to go and get the big contract with the big buyout. So you change your financial circuit. That's done. This dude's been paid more buyouts than Raiders, USC, all that, right? So it's not the money. Both schools will get stupid with the compensation. Both schools are well suited for Rev and NIL. On the field, it's not really like the roster assembly. I would say you're at a disadvantage in Mississippi, but only slightly. And what they're doing, and really the kind of unsung superstars at Ole Miss, are the athletic director, Keith Carter, and Walker Jones, who handles the NIL. And they're alumni of the university. And as a fellow alumni of the university, although I'm not a native Mississippian, and I often roll my eyes all the way out of my head when I talk about Ole Miss, and it's sort of inherent to the bone pretentiousness. I can hear the LSU person laughing in my ear right now. I can't see you on camera, but I can hear you laughing.
Who, me? I would never.
Because you know. You know. So it's shocking to me how efficient this program has become. It is shocking to me, as someone who bore witness to so many years of self-inflicted wounds. This is one of the best programs in the country. And I say that being, I would challenge someone to find someone more critical of Ole Miss in college football in the national level than me. And if this job does come open, I feel very confident and informed that the next head coach is ready to go. And there have already been conversations to that effect, because you have to with Lane. You have to have a backup plan. Auburn didn't have a backup plan a couple years ago when they tried to get Lane down to the wire. Do you guys remember who they hired? Hugh Freeze. Went great.
Hugh Freeze.
Right? Nailed it. Yeah. So Ole Miss and Florida are trying to avoid being the have-not or the bridesmaid or whatever here, so they don't get stuck looking to fill a coach. All right? So Ole Miss is going to be a better opening than it ever has been if it comes open. And it's because those people finally got their act together, if you will. However, Lane's focus is not evaluating the quality of the program. Lane's focus is, how can I make this story about myself for as long as humanly possible? How can I be the main character? I'm going to be the bad boy. Now I'm the sober boy. Now I'm the hot yoga guy, and I'm doing the Bible verses, and I'm back with my wife, and I've got a whole running Bravo show on my Instagram, and is it my daughter? Is it my girlfriend? We did that for 2 years, right? All of it, by the way, they make that joke, so I'm allowed to make that joke. Lane will never not make it about Lane, okay? And that is going to be the focus no matter where he goes. I think the difference is he has cleaned up certain aspects of his life, and he's had so much sustained success that now, this time around, Florida's interested. They weren't interested last time. He would have crawled to Gainesville before they hired Billy Napier, but he couldn't get in with the right people. Now he's in with the right people.
We have a million things I want to get to, but I have one more Lane Kiffin question for you. You just laid out how good of a place this Ole Miss football program is in. They have a great chance to make the college football playoff and to win a national championship. Last year, they invested more money in the transfer portal than any other team in college football. They have one of the best rosters in the SEC, and you're talking about Mississippi that isn't necessarily the most fertile recruiting grounds in the Southeastern Conference compared to Florida, that is a dumpster fire, that doesn't have a quarterback, that needs to do a ton of roster reconstruction. Why leave?
It's a great question, because football-wise, in the next 3 years, you would almost certainly have more success in the win-loss column, right? Now, the counter-argument is, why not take Trinidad Chambliss with you? You could. Why not take all these guys? Why not say, hey, guys, come on, I'll do the same thing real fast? Again, this is why I'm kind of shouting out certain individuals at Ole Miss today, because everyone thinks I'm critical and saying he should go. I'm not saying that. For the first time since literally segregation ended in this sport, Ole Miss has been an innovator, and they've been really, really good at roster management, payroll management, NIL, evaluating talent. That's not all Lane Kiffin. He's going to leave a well-functioning apparatus, and the next head coach is going to walk into that. So to your point, I don't know if he should leave. I don't know from a football standpoint. Florida has a weird luster for people a certain age in the SEC. So when I was coming up, when I was young, I'm from Georgia, and Spurrier was the bane of UGA's existence. Mm-hmm. And it was they were the gold standard through the 90s. And as the SEC sort of became this powerful thing in the millennium, But when you stand back now that these programs are so similar in the way they're funded and their access and everybody recruits nationally, Florida's made 2 good hires, right? They were an invisible football program until 1990, 89. They bring Spurrier in, a native, an alumni. He's from Tennessee, but they bring him in and then they hire Urban Meyer at the right time. They beat Notre Dame. Every other hire they've made has been bad by a national title contender's perspective, like bad. Jim McElwain, Will Muschamp, hiring Dan Mullen to try and get the Meyer magic back. He was Meyer's OC for a long time. Right? These have been bad hires. Billy Napier. Am I leaving anyone out? Like, if it's not Meyer and it's not Spurrier, the results at Florida are catastrophic by a national standard. So it's very feast or famine. So this idea that you're going into Alabama is not actually the case. Now, the upside is that everything that we've talked about historically, in other words, like what Meyer was able to pull together, or what even maybe Spurrier, and that was when college football was very different, that's still on the table at Florida. You still have access to one of the most populated states in the country, a ton of high school talent. It's just that you can also do the same thing in the portal at Ole Miss now.
So however this resolves, I just want to be clear. I want Lane Kiffin to stay at Ole Miss, and I want him to do one of those Wolf of Wall Street videos where he just screams, "I'm not going anywhere." I just want that. I want that. I want the full reenactment with the whole team in a stockbrokerage firm. I'm not effing going anywhere. Like, I want this over and over and over again. I want the social media content of it. That's it. Like, I like to guess.
I mean, do you think that, like, because all we're doing is appealing to one man's ego right now, or trying to understand one man's ego. Do you think he wants a statue and maybe ultimately his name on a stadium one day? Or do you think he wants to join what he considers to be the first class of the Southeastern Conference? He theoretically, if they keep spending the way they are in Mississippi, I don't know where they're getting the money. I don't really want to know. He could elevate that program, right? And yes, they're in contention this year.
There's a very reasonable chance that Ole Miss can be a better football school for the next 10 years than Florida. If they keep Lane Kiffin and they keep doing what they're doing, I don't see any, like, I hear what you're saying, that do you want a statue at a small place, or do you want to go to the big dogs? I think we're going to have to reassess who the blue chips are and the big dogs are in 10 years. I don't have any faith outside of Lane Kiffin that Florida will get the hire right. I think there's a very real chance in 10 years that Ole Miss is considered a better football school than Florida. Even though Florida fans don't want to hear that.
Lane is also good once or twice a year for an inexplicable implosion. He skirted it this year. I was there for the Washington State game, right? Last year it was Kentucky. They lost to a horrible Kentucky team at home. One of those 11 a.m. local time kickoffs. Everybody's sleepy, right? Everyone hates the JP game. He's going to do that. Like, he hasn't stopped. He's not Nick Saban. You're not getting this established, consistent, steady presence. He's a very mercurial human being. Okay? So I think what's funny from the outside is that people only see the funny highlights on that he walks up on the wedding proposal and he's pulling off his belt to hand to his running back last week. Like, that's great. You are also going to get some truly maddening results. That's part of the Lane Kiffin experience. And what Florida seeks right now, I think more than anything, is consistency. Napier was really dogged by inconsistency, would recruit really well, had national title, rosters, sort of looking rosters, because that was Mullen's problem. But then would just, self-inflict terrible penalties, out of alignment, 10 guys on defense. Like that, that's what dogged the Napier era. And yes, is Kiffin better? Yes. Is he an offensive savant? Yes. He's going to make you want to die if you're a fan of his at least once or maybe even twice a season. Are you ready for that?
Before we let you go, Godfrey, and look, the season's not over yet. He still could be good for one more implosion. Don't want to speak that into existence. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Oh, you mean Starkville?
Last one before we let. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm looking at. It's a tough place to play.
Wow, that's never happened. It hasn't. That's
feels like they're on the verge of breaking through some way, somehow. Over there in
Starkville. Yep, absolutely. That's a dangerous, good football team right now with a record that doesn't reflect it. Absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, the last time he was this involved in a coaching carousel, he lost all those games.
Just saying. Don't want to speak too soon.
Just saying.
Before we let you go, though, the Kalen DeBoer discourse is right back at it. We are right back in the fire Kalen DeBoer machine that we experienced after week 1 when Alabama lost to Florida State. Is the panic justified?
No. They're the most spoiled fan base in America. No, you're idiots. Can I say that you got a sore ass? Can I say this? You're a bunch of sore ass spoiled fans. And you have been since, like, you have no idea. The elder Gen X Bama fans are not doing this. It's millennials, kids today on campus who came to be part of Rush Talk, and then the boomers. Like, that's it. Like, Gen X Bama fans remember how bad it can get, okay? This thing is not this idea that Bama is a birthright, this idea, no. You're just as susceptible as anybody else. Nick Saban ain't coming back. He's under that comfy blanket right now. He's under the look, if a man's napping in a Barca lounger with a blanket right here, he's done with life. I aspire to that status one day if I can get there financially, okay? I could go back for anything. You are susceptible to the week in, week out trials and tribulations of the SEC just like anybody else. And if you don't believe that Kalen DeBoer is a good coach, hypothetically, what if USC were to open? What if Lincoln Riley went somewhere? That feels crazy, doesn't it, guys? That couldn't happen, right? Do you think Kalen DeBoer can't make that a level of money somewhere else and deal with maybe, I don't know, 80% less wanton death threats in the front yard? Right? Like, you better be careful. You better be really careful if you're Bama. You better understand where you are in the new world, which is that you're rank and file with about 7 other SEC programs, and you're going to take some losses every year. Nick Saban is gone. He is under the blanket.